Hi, my name is Christopher Bradley, and I am running for Congress. I'm running as an independent for U.S. House of Representatives, Congressional District 14 here in Florida. And I think last time I left you, I was leaving the Union Rescue Mission and accepting a position in Iraq in 2004. Between 2004 and 2017, I spent about 16 years of my working life in those two countries, between Iraq and Afghanistan, and it influenced me a lot, and I saw a lot, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what I saw and what I witnessed. And I've got some pictures in the background that you'll be able to see, just from my time in both countries. Some of them I took, some of the others took. They're definitely not all of my pictures. I'm not going to show you all my pictures, but these are some of the better ones. I would think a lot of them have to do with the tech stuff that I. Um, so let's start with Afghanistan first. Everybody knows about the horrible Afghan withdrawal, and I was very pissed off about that. We spent thousands of lives, billions of dollars, and nothing came of that. We abandoned a country because it wasn't expedient anymore. That upset me a lot. Um, I'll give you two main reasons why. One, we were there for 20 years, and during that time, a child, a girl, was born. They went to they went to school under U.S. protection. They went to high school under U.S. protection. They were given the opportunity that they would never have been allowed to under the Taliban. And after 20 years, that young woman would have been going to college, looking forward to a career as a doctor, a lawyer, something. And then, because of expediency, because it wasn't worth our time anymore, we just said, screw you. We're leaving. Good luck. Bye. And we left in such a way that the local government, the Afghan government that we had propped up for 20 years, was unable to resist Taliban advances. And we didn't care. We gave up 13 lives, our soldiers' lives, doing a debacle of a withdrawal, and we didn't care. Our own president didn't care. He just wanted to end something that was no longer expedient for him. The other answer I have is to those that say, hey, we should end these endless wars. We're not in an endless war. The military fought that war and won it within a few years. The military was done with their war, and it was up to the politicians to do the long haul. And they were not interested in the long haul. We only were interested in short term TikTok memories. And to that, I say, hey, are we still fighting World War II? Are we still fighting the Korean War? I mean, we still have troops in Germany, Japan, South Korea, and a lot more troops than we ever did in Afghanistan. So yeah, where's are we still fighting World War II? Is that an endless war? Nobody ever says anything about that to me. The second thing is more of a social thing. So the closest you can get to communism or socialist society in America is being a contractor in a forward deployed location. And I get the attractiveness of the socialist communist lifestyle. My housing was provided for me free of charge. My food was not only provided for me free of charge, but cooked for me. I had 3, 4 meals a day prepared for me. My utilities were all paid for me. I was provided a salary indirectly by the government. Um, my health care was generally taken care of. I pretty much was I had no expenses, and that's what communism is kind of supposed to be about. And socialist lifestyle is you get taken care of by the government, and that's what you do in a deployed environment. You get you get taken care of. All of your needs are taken care of. Now, here's the catch to all of that. As you can see in the background, that's an example of what we lived in. Your living quarters are chosen by the government. You don't get a say in where you're going to live. Somebody else tells you where you're going to live and how you're going to live and with whom you're going to live with. My last deployment, I was in like a 5 by 10 foot room with one other person. There was enough for two twin size bunk beds and or two twin size beds and a clothes closet, and that was it. That was it. And I lived there for an entire year. So, yeah, it's free of charge. But you give up the luxury of deciding for yourself where you are going to live, how you're going to live. So think about that in today's today's perspective here in Tampa. Would you want the government to tell you where to live, who to live with? Possibly not. You give up that you get free housing, but you give up the freedom to decide what that housing looks like, how it's going to who you get to live with, that kind of thing. Same thing with food. Um, yeah, food's free, but it's only free during this certain period of time, and we get to select the menu for you. It may not be the healthiest, and they did try, but it was definitely not the healthiest food out there. But um, yeah, we'll feed you, but you give up the choice on what you want to eat. We provide the selection. Within that selection, you get to choose. But we get to choose what that selection is. You don't get to choose what food you want. In your house, the government makes the rules for what you're going to do within that house. You have to understand when you choose the socialist lifestyle and you push for that in that context, you're asking to be told what to do. You're being told, and you're not giving really necessarily a choice in how that happens. So I understand the attractiveness of that because I don't have to think about that. I don't have to think about housing. I don't have to think about food. All that's taken care of for me, and all the electricity's paid for me, even though it's not the best electricity. Housing's paid for, even though it's not the best housing. It's all paid for. But do you want to live like we lived in Iraq in those shoes, eating that food that was not the best for us? That's what you got to decide. And for me, I would rather not. That was kind of a lesson that I took away from there. Also, I will guarantee you that I have been shot at, mortared at, and missiled and rocketed more than almost everybody else in Congress, except for an actual combat vet. Um, yeah, that's not really bothering me. I was there in Erbil, Iraq, when Iran first launched their ballistic missiles at us. Um, all I mean, we could be in the bomb shelters, but there's not really much you can do about it with ballistic missiles. So we just watched it come in coming in on the screen in our jock. So it's quite an adventure. I've had some fun times. Um, I'm sorry, I never expected to be a politician in these 16 years, so I wasn't like buddying up to anybody important, anything like that. I was just having fun. I had fun. Um, and I think most of the people out there working had fun as well. On the Tim Waltz thing, yeah, I'll I don't know his motives. I can I do not know what his motivations was, but I'll tell you this right now: you would be surprised how many National Guard was in Iraq and Afghanistan, especially Air National Guard. They were the ones doing most of the logistics stuff. National Guard was providing a lot of just base guard duty and base logistics and stuff like that. So we use the National Guard pretty heavily out there. Yeah. So I mean that's what I've done for most of my life. Is I've worked out in Iraq and Afghanistan for various companies. I own my own business out there for a little bit of time. Um, Made some money, but it was a lot of work. I mean, you're talking 16-hour days, and I don't think I'd ever do that again. It was a lot of work and just not worth it. Let's see. Anything else? No, I mean that's pretty much it. If I was pretty kept abreast of all the stuff going on in the Middle East, I knew what was going on. So if there's any Middle East policy, I'm pretty much up to date on that one. So when it comes to foreign policy, I could be a good representative for us there in Congress on that one. Um, Yep. So I think I'll leave this there for now. You pretty much got an idea that a lot of my life was spent in these countries doing various things, tech stuff mostly for the U.S. military. I will say that you are as a give you the contractor perspective of the war out there. We stayed out there for years. We didn't have 6 month deployments, 9 month deployments, 12-month deployments. We had year by year contracts, and a lot of people stayed out there for 3, 4, 5 years. Um, and I'll tell you this right now, it's very hard to track because the DoD didn't really care, the media didn't care, but I'm pretty confident that there were more contractor deaths than active military deaths. And military death will get you somewhat of an honorable trip back to the United States and burial. Contractor death is put you in a box. Here's your here's your termination notice. Here's your benefits. Good luck. So yeah, most recently, I think the most recent death that I know of was in Syria. Short little blurb on the news, like, "Hey, this contractor died in Syria." And that was pretty much it. If a military had died in Syria, that would have been national news, and it would have been questioned. Contractor deaths, not so much. We kind of got shafted. We were equally coddled and despised, depending on what the military needed at the time. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's about it. Contractor wise, oh, something that really irritates me. Burn pits. You notice how the Congress passed burn pit legislation says, "Oh, for the military, if you have any of these diseases, we're going to automatically assume that it was the Iraq or Afghanistan burn pits, and you're covered, and we'll take care of you." Yeah, they forgot to forgot about the contractors there. They were kind of catering to the military vote, so fuck us contractors. I mean, I'm 20 years from now, if I get lung cancer because I was breathing in those burn pits for years, good luck. Good luck with the DBA. I'm sure you'll be fine. Yeah. No. So Congress doesn't care about contractors. They care about the military because the military is a large voting bloc that is kind of catered to a little bit now. Contractors, yeah, we're on our own. You're mercenaries. We don't like you. Blah blah blah. But without us, military is gonna have a hard time doing their job. Um, Now don't get me wrong. I love the military. They will go in and solve a problem. Very good at that. They'll do it very inefficiently, but they will solve that problem and do it better than any military on the face of the planet. But when it comes to our congressmen, they're doing legislation based off that voter block, not off the actual problem. There's tens of thousands of contractors that will have the same problem, health problem that our military have, and we will not get that support. That's your legislature right now. All right, I'll leave it at that. If you have any questions about my time out in Afghanistan or Iraq, let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. Next time, I think I'll talk about my year in El Salvador. I was tired of the desert and wanted to go to the jungle. And we'll see you next time. You have a good day.